Well, I must say the film you outlined sounds very interesting. Of course, I'm going to have to wait a while before I make a commitment on it.
I understand. Now, listen, I'll be in Houston for a couple of weeks. I have some potential investors I'll be talking to.
Fine. I'll stay in touch.
It's a pleasure, Dennis, and I look forward to hearing.
I'll be talking to you, Jay.
Pete, thanks for everything.
Okay, sure thing. Well, what'd you think? I thought Page put on quite a performance.
You sure he didn't recognize me from the Top of the World Club?
No. He was too busy watching Page.
You don't think he found it strange running into her like that?
Well, he did at first, but when I reminded him that Houston is Page's hometown, he seemed satisfied. What about you? You satisfied?
For the moment.
That means you're planning a repeat performance?
That's right. But for a different audience. I think my father will be very interested in seeing Page's reaction to Jack Brent.
Well, what a pleasant surprise. Good morning, sweetheart.
Morning, Daddy.
I understand you want to talk to me.
Yes, I do.
What about?
I want you to know that Barrett sold his shares of the Marshall land to Justin.
As your mother told me.
Well, that means that Justin has control of the ranch. Am I right? And you know what that means, don't you? He's going to drill on that land and destroy it. You're going to have to figure out a way to stop him, Daddy.
13 yellow roses. Long stem. Yeah, my daddy always told me the same. 13. Listen, do you still sell those crystal vases? Yeah, I want you to put the roses in those. Understated yet overwhelming, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I don't care how much it costs, just so it looks real pretty. Could you deliver that right away? Fine. Remember now, yellow roses in a crystal vase. Fine. Bye-bye.
I brought you some coffee.
Thanks.
What lucky girl is receiving 13 yellow roses in a crystal vase?
Now, what can I do for you?
Okay. What are you up to, Peter?
Up to?
Don't give me that innocent bit.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Why did you bring Jack Brent to the Top of the World Club last night?
Would you have preferred it if I had taken him somewhere else? One of your competitors, perhaps?
You brought him there deliberately, didn't you, Peter? You deliberately wanted to embarrass me.
Why would I want to do a thing like that? I think you're jumping to conclusions.
Dennis was right there at the bar, Peter.
Do you really care what Dennis thinks?
That's not the point.
What is your point, then?
I'm asking you why you're doing this to me.
I'm not doing anything.
I don't believe you. I think you're up to something, I can tell.
So mistrustful. Actually, I was getting together with Jack for business reasons. When I entertain for business, I like taking people places where I know they'll be impressed.
I don't think Jack Brent would have been very happy to have seen me either.
On the contrary, he was delighted to see you again.
I find that hard to believe.
Jack has nothing but good memories of your old days back in Hollywood, Paige.
Is that what you're doing? You're putting together another film with me as part of the financing?
As I recall, your name wasn't mentioned.
Oh, really?
Really? And I'm not doing a film deal. I'm out of the film business for good. Remember, I'm in the oil business now.
Well, then what kind of business were you doing?
Merely trying to arrange a good business deal for an old friend
What
of mine.
kind of business deal, Peter?
Don't think that's any of your business.
When you bring Jack Brent into the Top of the World Club with my estranged husband sitting right there, I think that's part of my business.
Okay, if you really want to know, I was thinking of talking Dennis into backing your Jack's next film deal.
wouldn't do that.
Wouldn't I?
What do you expect to gain?
Nothing but the satisfaction of knowing that I've helped an old friend.
You'll never get away with this, Peter.
No, who's going to stop me?
I will if I have to.
How? By going to Dennis first and telling him what you really are?
It didn't happen that way. You know that.
Yeah, well, why don't you try telling Dennis that and see if he believes you? Or, is it Elliot now? Is that who really worries you?
Oh!
Shouldn't have done that, Paige.
No! What did I ever do to you?
It's not what you did, Paige. It's what you didn't do.
Do you know whether the contract between Justin and Barrett was oral or written?
Kate said that Justin showed her a paper.
What kind of paper?
She said it looked like a contract.
Kate, read it?
She told me that she saw Barrett's signature on it.
Did she notice whether Barrett's signature had been witnessed?
His was the only name that she saw on the paper. Daddy, Ginny, and I have figured it all out.
What have you two got figured out?
Simple. You just have to prove that Barrett's crazy, that he wasn't competent when he signed that contract. And, Daddy, that should be real easy for you.
Rena.
Mama, he is crazy. In fact, to believe anything Justin Marshall says is crazy in itself. But to think that Barry actually believes that he could get Ginny back, well...
Rena, you may think he's crazy, but I don't think that will hardly hold up in a court of law.
The court might be interested in some of the other things that he's done, though.
Like what?
Like the terrible things he's done to Ginny.
What does Kate think of all this?
I know one thing. She wants her land back.
How bad she want it back?
I don't know. Why do you ask?
We're talking about some ugly business here if we go through with this.
In what way?
Well, we're going to have to find out whether Barrett's incompetent or not, and there'll be a hearing.
If that means getting her land, I'm sure she would agree to that and anything else.
It'll be a public hearing, Rena, and I can't see Kate airing the family problems in public.
You know how she's fought all these years to uphold the Marshall name, even through her own son's suicide.
Can't you request a closed session?
Anything outside the ranch and the family is an open session to Kate.
Well, what about that psychiatrist that he's been seeing in Colorado?
What about him?
Call him. He'll tell you about Barrett's incompetence.
Or competence. Just because he's seeing a doctor doesn't make him incompetent.
Daddy, will you do me a favor and check it out?
Yes, I will. When I get into town at the office, I'll call the doctor and get a reading.
Call him here. I'll get Kate to give you the name.
Honey, you can't just call up a doctor and ask him some information about a patient that I'm going to have to, especially over the phone.
All right. You tell me how we're going to get the answers.
I'll call one of the boys in Denver and have him go see the doctor and check with him personally.
Now, in the meantime, you won't get involved with anything else and forget about this, will you?
No, I won't, but I'm going to check with Kate on this first.
I think you'll find that Kate wants to break that contract.
Well, your father would be wrong if he didn't talk to her.
I'm
about
not disagreeing with that.
All right. If Kate agrees, I'll proceed.
Thank you, Daddy.
I wouldn't get my hopes up, honey. I don't know if there's anything we can do to stop Justin.